Hello, this is Dr. Susan Blumberg, and this is my Facebook Live on Path to Parenting Harmony every Monday at 12:45 Mountain Time. So, what are we going to talk about today? I put an interesting title on this. It says, "Do you talk too much?" I do. My kids tell me all the time that I repeat myself, especially when I'm mad at them. I tell them what they did. I tell them what they did wrong. I tell them what they should have done. Then I tell them again. And sometimes I tell them a third time. Now, I've worked on this in my professional presentations, just like this one, right? I learned to practice my professional presentations, and that does save me from some pointless repetition. In conferences and meetings, when I'm speaking spontaneously, especially if I know I'm making a really good point, there it is again. I repeat myself, diluting the impact of my words. Now, just about a year ago, I participated in a month-long program called Clean Speech Colorado, where every day they gave us helpful hints on how to work at being more impactful with our words. And I want to talk today about a very important one called Omit Needless Words. Remember the title of this presentation? Do you talk too much? I have to plead guilty once again. I want us to talk about how to choose our words carefully in order to let ourselves be heard. Think about that. Talk less and be heard more. Our colleagues, our bosses, and our children will listen more carefully to us if we speak to the point, speak more powerfully, and speak less. So, our teens tune us out when we go on and on and on and on and on. I know you've all heard my story about nagging our children over and over. That one mom who told their child to put away their toys 17 times before it actually happened. And why did the mom have to do it 17 times? Because the teenager knew that that would happen, and so they were in no rush to actually comply. Omit needless words. So I want to talk about a problem-solving strategy today that will really help. When you need to resolve an issue, whether that's with your partner, your colleague, or with your kids, first, take time to think through what it is you really want to say. When you recognize a conflict, don't try to deal with it right then when you're angry. Schedule a time to talk. At work, that might be later in the day. At home, it might be after dinner. It might even be the next day. But don't try to handle it in the heat of the conflict. Second, write down your thoughts if you can. That helps focus your ideas. Then, edit it by half. I'm going to say that again. Edit it by half. Pull out anything that's overly emotional, that's blaming of the other person. Get it down to the real point of the issue. Third, focus on the positives that the other person has accomplished. Make sure you start this conversation, again, whether it's with your partner, your colleague, or your kid, on the positives that that other person has accomplished, whether it's in your teamwork, in your marriage, or something that your child has done recently. Those words are really important. Last, but most importantly, after you've presented your concerns, listen to what your colleague, partner, or child has to say in return. Only after you've both been listened to and really heard can you brainstorm some solutions to the problem. It can't be a one-way street. You both have to be listened to. You both have to have the opportunity to share your concerns, your feelings, and your needs. Now, what I'd really like to know is if you've ever tried this with your colleague, your partner, or your child, what has worked for you? Has it worked best to take that break and talk when you're calm? Does it work best to write it down in advance and be really clear and organized about what you have to say? Does it work best when you comment on the other person's strengths or positives about what they've done recently? Or is the most important thing to listen to the other person and get their needs and feelings out on the table too before you start brainstorming any solutions? Now, my easy tip for today is set a timer. Keep these conversations to no more than 15 minutes. 20 if you really have to. You can always come back and continue the conversation after you've had more time to think through what the other person has had to say and how that impacts how you're feeling about the issue. I know that it's really tempting to want to push through and get all your stuff out, but remember what I said? Omit needless words. Take the time to think through what the other person has to say, how that impacts your needs and your feelings. Write down what you want to say, edit it down by half, and schedule another conversation, perhaps for the next day. What this does is allow you to be less emotional, more factual, and allow the other person to really listen to what you have to say. Say less, be heard more. What I'd really like to know in your comments underneath this post or by sending me a private message is if this strategy is going to work for your family or for your colleagues at work. I'd really like to know if this is a communication technique that's going to work for your family. And for yourself, if you think about it as a technique that you can use at work too. So, this is Dr. Susan talking in Path to Parenting Harmony for my weekly Facebook Live. Please give me your feedback, and I'll look forward to hearing from you. Thank you so much for listening. Bye.